Hey, what's up, everybody? I am Michael Fletcher. Welcome to this. And well, let me just break down something real quick before we get into the Ranger Roundup. Unfortunately, last night, as you can tell, we were gonna try to do it immediately following the NHL game, and unfortunately, what happened was we had some major issues with our not let me do it at all last night. Therefore, we were unable to do the show, and we did postpone it until tonight. But with that said, we are back. We're better than ever. And alongside with my partner in crime, Anthony Florio, we welcome you to the Ranger Roundup, as this was going to be our recap of last night's Game 4 of the Stanley Cup Finals. The New York Rangers won the game last night by the final score of 2-1, keeping the hopes alive for New York Ranger fans. We do not get the sweep. The cup does not get skated on home ice to the dreaded LA Kings. The Rangers are going back to LA. The Kings are going back to LA, and the Stanley Cup is taking the 3,000-mile flight from the East Coast all the way to the West Coast. Hopefully, the Rangers can get another game so that they can bring it back to New York for Game 6, because if they get it to Game 6, a lot of people are going to start saying, uh-oh, could we have something on our hands? But before we get there, let's get right into the game itself. In the first period, like we were going to try to talk about, Willie Mitchell got nailed for a penalty, a high stick on Derek Dorsett. Unfortunately, New York was unable to get the power play, but at 7:25 in the first period, Benoit Proulia gets the golazo. John Moore and Derek Brassard gets the assist as the New York Rangers takes a 1-0 lead, and that was the only scoring in the first period. Unfortunately, LA outshot New York 11-7 in the first period, but the Rangers had the lead. So, Anthony, what did you think about it after the first?
All right. Hello, friends. Anthony Floyer with you for this belated edition of the Rangers Roundup. We're delighted to have you with us as always, and delighted to be here as always as well. And yes, first period was definitely about the Rangers here. I mean, they played a lot better. I mean, you all remember how very angry I was about Game 3. I mean, I thought their performance was as putrid as it can get, but they showed up here, and that's all I can say. And Benoit Pouliot, who scored the very first goal of the series in Game 1, he deflects it in off of a hard shot there, and that was all. And it got past Jonathan Quick there. It was 1-0. And a couple of things I want to go over real quick, and that is LA Kings got away with murder again, folks. Another bad another bad call here. They had too many men on the ice. Refs, of course, looked the other way. Gee, I wonder why. But yeah, they looked the other way. I guess I don't know what the story was about that. I guess there was like a puck deflection off of one of them. I don't know. I don't know if it was like a belated line change. I don't know, but there should have been a too many men on the ice penalty against LA, but they didn't call it. Not going to go any further into that. But thankfully, it didn't hurt us like those couple of crooked calls in Game 2 did, as we all know. And but here, and then one other highlight I want to one other observation I should say is that LA came this close to tying it. The puck was literally right on the red line, but it did not go over. I mean, I think like a tip of it went through. No tip. The whole puck has to cross the line, and that's exactly why the refs ruled no goal. So, wow, a call actually benefits us for a change. Go figure. So there you go. But Benoit Pouliot, man of the hour, makes it 1-0. While the Kings may have been the aggressors on the shooting aspect, I think the Rangers outplayed them in that period. I think the Rangers were, they played with that renewed sense of urgency. You know how I am about sense of urgency. You know how I am about that. And thankfully, the Rangers showed it. They needed to show it, and you definitely want to get off to a good start, especially in an elimination game, which the New York Rangers are after the win last night. Now 5-0 in elimination games in this playoff year. Game 7 against Philadelphia in the first round, games 5, 6, and 7 against Pittsburgh, and then last night, of course, it will be yet another elimination game tomorrow night for Game 5, and hopefully we can make that 6-0 and force it back home for Game 6, which would be on next Monday night. And if that's the case, well, actually, it will be just the Ranger Roundup because remember, there is no Wrestling Forum, as if you all know, because of commitments from Derek Ferrera, and of course Michael Bullock has a commitment as well. But you never know. I mean, maybe Flex and I could actually do something with that. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. We'll have to hammer out something. But for right now, let's just focus on this for now. So, a very good first period for the New York Rangers, and Benoit Pouliot was the hero there. Kings came close to tying it, but as the goal was on the line, Derek Stepan um, knocks it out. I mean, he just barely gets it out, and there was a little. They questioned a little bit about. I mean, did he, do something wrong, or that might have been later on. But there was another similar moment later. But for right now, 1-0 Rangers after one. Pouliot, great goal there, nice deflection. So a very good first period for the Rangers, even though the Kings outshot them. That first period was better than that entire Game 3 combined. So nothing left to say, Fletch, except let's move on.
Second period goes right into it. At 6:27 in the second period, Marty St. Louis gets the goal. Chris Kreider and Derek Stepan gets the assist. It's 2-0 New York. You're thinking, all right, we've been here before. We've had 2-goal leads before. And, well, yeah, short-lived. In less than 2 minutes later, Dustin Brown gets a goal unassisted, basically on a breakaway. A horrible lapse by the defense, and New York gets burned again. Lundqvist tried his best, but he got burned, and it was 2-1. So I know LA King fans are like, we're down 2 goals. We've been here before. We should win this game, no doubts about it. But of course, once again, like we said, sense of urgency by the Rangers, even though they did get outshot in this period. 15-11, but New York, more importantly, had the lead 2-1 going into the third and final period. Anthony, what did you think about that?
Well, nice goal by Marty St. Louis on the side of the net, makes it 2-0. And yeah, I mean, the Garden was rocking. I was excited. I'm like, okay, we got a shot here. But then, Dustin Brown gets the breakaway, and the captain puts the biscuit in the basket, makes it 2-1. And I'm like, oh no, like, here we go again. We're gonna blow another 2-goal lead, and we're gonna lose again. The cup's gonna be skated in the Garden by them and not us. But no, 2 words: Henrik Lundqvist. That was it. I mean, Lundqvist absolutely was spot on here. So many breakaways. I mean, Marian Gaborik, our old friend, he had a chance to burn us, almost did and didn't. Carter, I know, had a chance. He didn't burn us. Tanner Pearson, you're going to hear a lot about that one. I mean, he had a great game for the LA Kings last night. And yet his game was so great that the NHL actually voted him as one of the 3 stars of the game. He voted him as the 3rd star of the game, hard to believe, even though he didn't do anything. Should have been Dustin Brown, in my opinion, because he had the goal. But, it is what it is. But we're just going to move on. And, yeah, I mean, Henrik Lundqvist stood on his head, faced 15 shots, and stopped them all. I mean, half of those shots were close calls. And oh, wow. Great. And then it wasn't just Henrik Lundqvist. I mean, there was also some great defensive plays. I mean, Danny Girardi, I know, got involved. He actually, blocked a couple of those shots just enough so Lundqvist could make the saves. And then some other good defense as well. So another very strong second period for the Rangers, even though they let Dustin Brown get on the board. But Henrik Lundqvist was spectacular there. So, yeah, 14 out of 15 shots. But the third period was really when he really stepped up. And, yeah, great goal. And then it's not the first time they've blown a 2-goal lead. I mean, I think it's like the 4th or 5th time they've had a 2-goal lead and they've blown. But this time around, they didn't blow it. The other 4 times they did, and they burned them. This time around, well, actually, one time they blew a 2-goal lead and they actually still went on to win. I don't remember which game that was, but I do know, I believe they were 1-3, but I think we're now 2-3 because of this win. So yeah, very good effort there by Henrik Lundqvist, but Dustin Brown, great goal. But Marty St. Louis, the emotional leader, the heart and soul of our team. This is why we traded for him. We needed that big play guy, and that's the reason why we didn't get out of this. That's why we didn't get to the finals 2 years ago when the New Jersey Devils, broke our hearts. But still, I mean, that's the reason why we got him for moments like that. And sure enough, he's proven to be money well spent. So great second period again for the Rangers, even though LA got on the board. So third period time.
It was third period. There was no scoring, but like Anthony said, my goodness, what a period it was. Some close calls, especially by the LA Kings. They outshot New York 15-1. They were looking for the equalizing goal, and remarkably, some way, somehow, Henrik Lundqvist was able to turn them away, and then there was one. The one goal, or the one moment that had all New York fans thanking the hockey gods. Down in front, a scramble, the puck right on the line with about less than 2 minutes left, and Derek Stefan used his glove to put it behind Lundqvist so Lundqvist can cover it up and able to get the stoppage in play. And the King fans were up in arms over this because they were yelling for a penalty shot because of the fact that Stefan had shoveled the pass. Because the rule states if it's covered by one of the own players who's not a goaltender in the crease, it's an automatic penalty shot for the other team. LA was saying that he covered it up. He covered it up. You know, he put his hand was on the crease, covering up the puck. That should have been a penalty. No penalty was given. No goal was given. Rangers win 2-1 in this game. An unbelievable way to win it, and New York stays alive in the 2014 Stanley Cup Final, and it's on back to the City of Angels for a big game tomorrow night. Of course, Anthony alluded to it, that Tanner Pearson got the number 3 star, Marty St. Louis, the number 2 star, and the number 1 star, surprise, surprise, it was Henrik Lundqvist with the 41 saves in the game. Anthony, let's go quickly into the third period.
Before I do that, there was one more observation from the first period that I missed that I wanted to get off my chest. There was one stat that was very alarming in that first period, and that was the LA Kings. In terms of faceoffs, the LA Kings had won 20 faceoffs. We only won 4, but that really didn't affect us in the game. But 20-4 in faceoffs, that's a little, pointless, unnecessary. You know the routine. But as far as the third period goes, I mean, this is where Henrik Lundqvist was at his absolute best, and boy howdy, what unbelievable! I mean, some of the saves he made was just absolutely amazing. I mean, there was one save in particular that made Fletch lose his mind. I mean, if you saw it. I mean, he absolutely was like, "Save by Lundqvist!" I was like, "Oh my goodness!" He put that Doc Emmerich into it, which I love. I mean, the way he does it. I mean, the way Fletch does it. I mean, it's like a combination of Doc Emmerich and of the new school and the old school, of course, with Gary Thorne back in the ESPN days. But that's why he's one of the best when it comes to that. But yeah, a close call. Oh wow. I mean, that's as close as it gets. And go figure. The refs actually gave us another break. Go figure on that. And Stepan, he covered it up. And the first time around, it was actually Strawman, Antoine Strawman, our enforcer. He's the one who got the puck out of there just in time the first time. But the second time, it was Stepan, and thankfully, the refs ruled against LA. I know LA was whining and crying about it, but no, the whining and crying did not work. Yeah, the save stood. The refs said no goal, no goals allowed. So that's really all it needed. And then that third period was, even though the Kings were the aggressors again, the Rangers stood their ground. The defense stepped up. Girardi made some nice blocks again, and Strawman had some good defensive moments as well. And Stepan was Johnny on the spot, just getting that puck right out of harm's way, and that was it. Your Rangers win Game 4, 2-1, right back in the series now. It's 3-1. I mean, very pleased with the performance and the outcome of last night's game, and we needed it, and I'm just glad that we got at least we got one. That's good, but we're not done yet. We're not satisfied. We want more. We want all the way here. I mean, keep in mind, folks, there has been a time, only one time, 1942, where a team has come back from 3-0 down in the Stanley Cup Finals to win the Stanley Cup. It has happened. Toronto Maple Leafs against the Detroit Red Wings. That's the only time it's happened in the finals. even though it's happened 3 other times, they were in earlier rounds. 75, Pittsburgh and the Islanders, that was the first round series, as I recall. And then in, of course, 2010, much to the chagrin of Bruin fans, the Philadelphia Flyers. We all remember that in the second round. And then earlier this year, Los Angeles Kings, they found themselves down 0-3 against San Jose in the first round, and they still managed to win the series. So anything can happen, folks. I mean, for those of you who are thinking this series is over, no, not by a long shot. And remember this, 2 years ago, in 2012, the LA Kings went up 3-0 against the New Jersey Devils. And what happened? Jersey won Game 4, and then forced the series back to New Jersey for a Game 5. Jersey holds on to win Game 5 by a 1-goal margin, almost similar to what the Rangers did last night. And then Game 6, though, is as I thought maybe they had a chance to force a Game 7. Well, y'all remember what happened in that one. They literally beat themselves. I mean, their guy Bernier commits he committed the most stupid penalty you will ever see in a Stanley Cup playoff game, finals, whatever. And what happened after that penalty? Well, it went all downhill from there, and the Los Angeles Kings took full advantage, and then they went on to win the Stanley Cup in that game. So as long as the Rangers can, stop committing stupid penalties, as long as they can stop the giveaways, and as long as their defense can step up and make some nice plays, I mean, in particular, Danny Girardi. I mean, he made some very nice plays last night, as did Antoine Strom. He's our enforcer. Zuccarello had a solid game as well. I mean, Zuccarello was the only player who showed up in Game 3. All the others, phoned it in, as far as I'm concerned. And that's why, I called the Game 3 performance putrid. But last night's performance by the Rangers was not putrid at all. It was much, much, much better. Now we got to go into LA and do what we couldn't do twice before. Steal one there. If we can steal one there, we force it back to the Garden for Game 6 Monday night. And who knows? If we get it back to Game 6, the fans might start to think maybe we could do what we did against Pittsburgh. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see on that. But as the old saying goes, one game at a time, one night at a time. But we still believe it can happen. I mean, the Rangers have already pulled off one miracle in this Stanley Cup playoff year. Pittsburgh, second round, 3-1 down. Never did it before. They picked a great time to do it for the first time. They win Game 5 tomorrow night and force it back to the Garden for Monday. We just might have a shot at it. We just might have a shot at this. And if we do this, before we wrap this up, I'm going to make one statement. I'm going to make it clear and to the point.
Mm-hmm.
If the New York Rangers can do, somehow, if they can do what the Toronto Maple Leafs did 72 years ago in 1942, and come back from 0-3 down and win the Stanley Cup, you heard this here first, I will consider it the greatest comeback in the history of sports ever. Better than the Red Sox in 2004 against the Yankees in the ALCS, and considerably better than any of the previous 0-3 deficits overcome in Stanley Cup playoff history. If the Rangers do this against the caliber of the Los Angeles Kings, including winning 2 games in LA, then damn it to hell, nobody will have deserved to have won a Stanley Cup more than this team right here. That's all I can say. Just like I said, the Red Sox, last fall's Red Sox, when they won the World Series after what happened in the city of Boston, after that whole thing, nobody deserved it more. And now, if the Rangers can somehow find a way to do this, wow. That's all I can say. Wow. But we gotta keep pushing. We gotta keep showing that sense of urgency. Don't give LA any opportunities. Don't get cute. Don't get fancy. No more putrid performances for the rest of the series. I want to see some real effort, like we saw last night. You keep doing that, and you keep playing like every game's a Game 7, you might have a shot at this. But it starts tomorrow in LA. Great win for the Rangers. Very pleased with the effort and the outcome. Just like Fletch is, just like Eric Peterson is, and just like the rest of Ranger Nation. Start it tomorrow night. Let's wrap it up, Fletch.
All right, and we will wrap it up. And like you said, it's one game at a time. One shift, one period, one game at a time. New York Ranger fans, we're not dead yet. We're still alive. Could we pull it off again and win in game 6? I mean game 5? It remains to be seen. You know? But I will say this. If they do, all the pressure starts going in LA. Can they finish it off? I know we would like to make that pressure, make it a lot more tougher on them. And remember, New York dominated LA when they were in LA. The only thing was we made a lot of mistakes and we couldn't hold the lead. What if in those situations that we had the lead and was able to finish it off like we did just the other night? Well, we'll get our opportunity tomorrow night and we'll go from there. All right, folks, so that's it for now. And until tomorrow night, for Anthony Florio, I am Michael Fletcher. Thank you so much for watching, and we hope that you guys like this video. Leave a comment at the bottom. What's your prediction for Game 5? Do you think the Rangers are going to win? Or do you think the LA Kings will put New York away and hoist the Stanley Cup? We'll find out tomorrow night, folks. So until then, for Anthony Florio again, I'm Mike Fletcher. You know the routine, everybody. Hug the ham pounds. We are out. Good night, and we'll see you guys tomorrow night for another edition of the Rangers Roundup. So long.